Hello and welcome back. I'm Steve and today we're visiting Beijing, China. Before we get started, if you like this travel video format, I'd appreciate your support by clicking the thumbs up and subscribe buttons. As well, click the bell icon so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Upon arrival in Beijing, you'll find the airport to be very modern. In my opinion, it ranks among the best. Customs and Border Patrol was quick and efficient. Visitors from most countries will require a tourist visa before arrival. Typically, you must send your passport to a Chinese embassy or third-party visa processing company. Policies and procedures are subject to change and vary based on your country of citizenship, so please confirm requirements before departure. The Beijing Capital Airport Express train departs Terminal 2 and 3 every 15 minutes and takes approximately 20 minutes to arrive downtown. My standard advice, however, when visiting a new destination requiring long-haul flights is to pre-arrange ground transfers with your hotel. The convenience and safety achieved by having a transfer waiting more than justifies the expense. There are 5 main dialect groups of Chinese language and more than 200 individual dialects. English, French, German, and other popular global languages are not commonly spoken. With that said, I recommend pre-arranging tours in Beijing prior to departure. Even when using hotel concierge, you may experience difficulty aligning your tour expectations with the packages offered. Also, local tours tend to be very formulaic and are designed to maximize participant spending. Shopping stops, admission fees, and other assorted and sundry expenses are all designed to separate you and your money. If you'd like my help planning a tour of Beijing, visit my website at www.steveevanstravel.com. The climate is continental, so much like New York, Paris, or Berlin, with hot, humid summers and cold, dry, windy winters. Peak summer months are June to September, where temperatures will top out around 31 degrees Celsius or 88 Fahrenheit. Nighttime summer lows will average 19 Celsius or 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Peak winter months are December to February, where daytime high temperatures will average 2 degrees Celsius or 36 degrees Fahrenheit, and nighttime lows can fall to -9 degrees Celsius or 17 degrees Fahrenheit. China's currency is the renminbi. It's commonly referred to as the yuan. However, the yuan is actually the basic unit of the renminbi, in much the same way as a dollar can be Canadian, Australian, or American. Using the US dollar as a comparable, at current exchange rates, 10 US dollars equals approximately 70 renminbi, or 70 Chinese yuan. Major credit cards are widely accepted throughout all major cities in China. As with most large cities, restrooms, washrooms, and toilets are readily available. However, I recommend go whenever you have the opportunity. In the case of Beijing, not because public facilities are not available, it's more so because they may not be exactly what you expect. As an example, it's not uncommon for public facilities in China to have no privacy walls or toilets, simply a hole in the floor. That said, with a number of globally branded hotels, restaurants, coffee shops, and developed tourist sites in Beijing, you should have no problem finding adequate facilities. My only packing advice for Beijing is comfortable shoes. As a personal note, for larger cities, I typically stick with darker color clothes. It's never a good idea to stick out in a crowd when traveling. Check out my video on travel safety for reasons why. Speaking of safety, for a city of almost 22 million people, Beijing is extremely safe. Crime against tourists, or misconduct in general, is, how should I say it, not tolerated by the government. With that said, it does happen. Again, check out my video on travel safety to learn about my suggestions on staying safe. Okay, let's talk about food. I'm sure you've all heard of the variety of foods available in China. As we travel across the world, fruits, vegetables, meats, and even beverages will vary. With nearly 1.4 billion people living in China, some of the food choices may seem interesting or questionable to foreigners, but take a minute to think about foods consumed in your home country. The bottom line is it's all what you're used to. My best advice in Beijing, assuming you're not open to new and different choices, is read the menu. Don't assume a hamburger is made with beef. Keep in mind, a hamburger isn't always made with beef in North America. About 75% of Beijing's population practices an unaffiliated Chinese folk religion. Buddhism makes up about 16%, Taoism about 8%, and the additional 1% is split between Islam and Christianity. I'd recommend a minimum 4-night stay in Beijing. We could do it in 3, but you'd be verging on drive-by tourism. Also, consider combining Beijing with Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Macau. High-speed trains connect all 3 major cities, and you can take a hydrofoil from Hong Kong to Macau. There are 6 not-to-be-missed sites in Beijing. They are Tiananmen Square, the Forbidden City, the Temple of Heaven, the Summer Palace, the Ming Tombs, and the Great Wall. The Forbidden City, also known as the Imperial Palace, served as the Chinese palace and state residence between 1420 and 1924. Construction on the palace started in 1406. When completed 14 years later, it consisted of 980 buildings that spanned more than 72 hectares or 180 acres. Since 1925, the Forbidden City has been a museum. It houses an extensive collection of artwork and artifacts from the Ming and Qing dynasties. Part of the original collection is currently on display at the National Palace Museum in Taipei, Taiwan. Be sure to check out my video on Taipei for more information. So why is it called the Forbidden City? Well, the easy answer is because it's the home and office of the emperors. As such, it was forbidden for commoners to enter. But also because the emperors considered themselves sons of the God Jade Emperor. In China, the God Jade Emperor is believed to be one of the first god's representation. As such, it was forbidden for common people to even get close to an emperor. The palace is most recognized by the main entrance, the Tiananmen Gate. Tiananmen translates to English as Heavenly Peace, so the Tiananmen Gate is the Gate of Heavenly Peace. A common question I'm asked about the Forbidden City is who's pictured on the front and what does it say to the left and the right of the picture? The picture is of General Mao Zedong. General Mao was the founding father of the People's Republic of China. He ruled as chairman of the Communist Party of China from its establishment in 1949 until his death in 1976. To the left of General Mao's picture reads, "Long live the People's Republic of China," and to the right, "Long live the great unity of the world's peoples." Tiananmen Square is named after the main entrance of the Forbidden City, located directly to its north. Measuring 440,500 square meters or 109 acres, Tiananmen Square is one of the world's largest city squares. The square has played home to many internationally well-known events throughout its history, but as I've said in previous videos, my purpose is to show the real world, not discuss or debate politics. If you've watched my videos on other Asian cities, by now you're starting to recognize the blueprint for palace design around the 1400s. The palace is the place of residence and administration offices. Close by is a place of worship. In the case of Beijing's Imperial Palace, the Temple of Heaven was constructed between 1406 and 1420, so at the same time as the Forbidden City. Emperors visited the temple for annual ceremonies of prayer for good harvest. It's important to note that the temple was for the private use of emperors and didn't receive its name until later in the 16th century. In 1918, the Temple of Heaven was converted to a park and opened to the public. Today, the temple park covers just over 1 square mile or 3 square kilometers. It's common when visiting the park to see large groups of people singing, playing cards, dancing, flying kites, and a variety of other social activities. The Summer Palace is a vast area of lakes, gardens, and palaces. Its origin dates back to the Jin dynasty when the emperor ordered the building of a palace on the site in 1153. The park covers 2.9 kilometers or just over 1 square mile in total area. The area is dominated by Longevity Hill, which is about 60 meters or 200 feet high and has many buildings positioned in sequence. 3/4 of the remaining area is comprised of Kunming Lake. Kunming Lake is completely man-made. Longevity Hill was created from the earth removed to form the lake. The Summer Palace is a great way to spend a day in Beijing. The Ming Tombs are a collection of mausoleums built by the emperors of the Ming dynasty. They are located approximately 42 kilometers or 26 miles north of Beijing. After the Forbidden City construction in 1420, the emperor selected his burial site and created his mausoleum. In total, 13 Ming dynasty emperors were buried in the same area. The Great Wall of China is the collective name of a series of fortifications built across the historical northern borders of China. Its purpose was to protect and consolidate territories against various invaders. Several portions of the wall date back to the 7th century BC. Select portions were joined together by the first emperor of China between 2020 and 206 BC. Development of the sections most tourists will visit was constructed under the Ming dynasty between 1368 and 1644. In addition to defense, the Great Wall served as border control for the collection of duties and immigration. A modern archaeological survey found that the entire wall with all of its branches measures 21,196 kilometers, or 13,171 miles. As a comparison, crossing North America at one of its widest points, Vancouver, BC, Canada, to St. John's, Newfoundland, is approximately 6,683 kilometers, or 4,153 miles. Therefore, the Great Wall of China could span the US-Canadian border more than 3 times. For Beijing, there are 2 popular areas to visit the Great Wall. One is the Badaling region, and the other is Mutineyu. Most tour companies will take foreign tourists to Mutineyu. Both are located roughly 75 kilometers or 45 miles from Beijing and will take approximately 2 hours each way to travel. Badaling is the best area to visit. When you arrive at either location, you'll take a cable car from the parking lot up to the wall. From there, you'll be free to walk in either direction. If you're traveling in early spring or late fall, please be mindful of the ice that forms on the wall overnight. It typically melts quickly after a couple of hours of sunup. If you look at my pictures, you'll see that I've hiked on the Great Wall's tourist area and non-tourist area. Vastly different, and if you're able to do it, I highly recommend doing both. So there you have it. I've enjoyed every one of my visits to Beijing, and I hope you will as well. If you visited Beijing and feel there's something I've missed, or have a question, please let me know in the comment area below. If there's a country or destination you'd like me to discuss, go ahead and leave a request. I have no set agenda for my travel videos production order, so assuming I've traveled to your requested destination, I'd be happy to prioritize. And please don't forget to click the thumbs up and subscribe buttons. As well, make sure you click the bell icon so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Until next time, I'm Steve, thanks for watching, and remember, ready, set, go.